All right, should be good now.
Okay, but actually, I'm gonna start with a simple question, actually, to you, Ben. How I am doing?
Ooh. Nice socks, nice socks.
You like it?
Yeah. Why don't you did it?
Yeah, you asked for it, so obviously I did it. Sure. No, thanks for coming for this panel. So we're gonna focus on the NFT as a new business, offering new business opportunities. But I would love first, I think it's important for everyone to understand who is doing what as well. So I think it's good to have everyone having some introduction of themselves and what they're doing. So if obviously.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Daria of Wert, and we offer Web3 projects and NFT checkout, and basically a solution to sell whatever you're selling with your project through Wert. So you can sell your native tokens, NFTs priced in your native tokens, you can sell crypto, you can do whatever you want, ERC20, NFT, anything, basically anything, yeah.
Cool. My name is Ben. I'm one of the founders at Grapes. We're a bunch of friendly grapes focused on mobile games, animations, cool collectibles, and had a very good 2023 and having a better 2024. And also give people socks at conferences.
I was the guy with no mic, but now I have a mic. Hello, I'm Mohamed Ezeldin. I'm the head of Tokenomics at Animoca brands. And really what my role entails is trying to designing the economies of tomorrow today, leveraging digital assets and understanding all of the different mechanics about what that looks like. And I'll be going into more detail, hopefully, throughout the panel.
Hello, everyone. So you saw me already. So I'm the CEO of Liteflow. So my name is Anthony. At Liteflow, we actually build NFT infrastructure. So we help NFT projects to either create collection, mint their collection, or even going through like the whole stack with having their own NFT marketplaces, integrating trading of NFTs in their product, and so on. So basically, the whole suite of tools for businesses to actually build a proper long-term businesses around NFTs.
And I am Flav, Director of Global Development of the Blockchain Game Alliance. It's a non-profit organization where we promote blockchain within the gaming industry. We have 500 companies in the BGA, and you can see all of these wonderful guys being a part of our journey, but also a lot of you in the room as well. And one of our goals is education for sure. So how we capitalize on the expertise of all of these wonderful guys to explain what's coming and learning about what we're doing, what we're building. First topic will be around innovative NFT use cases. Mohamed, I'm not gonna let you choose actually the innovation you have in mind, because I really wanted Robbie to tell, because I know he's exciting about interoperability specifically and about what happened with Rev Motorsport. And I think it's a good example to talk about good use cases with NFT.
Absolutely. So for those who are not familiar, the Rev, or it's now been rebranded to the Motorverse ecosystem, is exactly that. There are loads of different game studios working on games. These are games that were mainly focused on Web2 to begin with, and there is a taste of Web3. But one of the biggest challenges we have, and which was spoken about in the previous panel, is this notion of interoperability. And in this case is how can I take maybe a car in one game with specific specs and be able to leverage that car in multiple other titles. So we've been able to crack that code at least within a few games for Motorverse. So you'll be able to take your digital assets from one motorsport ecosystem into the next and be able to use your assets in different games.
Is it something we are about to see more and more? Maybe talking about the universe you have with all the brands you have, but something you really want to push?
Absolutely. I think what we saw in the last few years is that it's very difficult for a single project to have its own token, especially if it's building in this notion of inwards. It's just utility for an ecosystem, but it's not allowing others to be able to build on top. But what we're seeing now is this ecosystem play, where it makes sense for multiple aspects to come together, so the value offering is much wider. But also an idea of this outward-facing token economy, which is more like a protocol that allows people to be able to build on top of some of these assets and create new business ideas and ventures that maybe some we've thought of and some still haven't been thought of as of yet, as the space continues to innovate and grow.
Awesome, thank you. Anthony, I feel very, very close to you. It's the first time. I hope it's okay for you. But the question we got to you on you're working on with a lot of different customers around a lot of different industries. What kind of groundbreaking innovation you see in your space with the NFT?
I think there is a lot of projects that have like kind of like really cool ideas, like new type of business models, which I think it's definitely good. But there is also some that are trying to merge the kind of like traditional, kind of like Web2 boring business model, but that actually works, which is something we need to still respect, because I think there is a lot of learning to get from traditional, I would say, companies that are doing traditional businesses. And that would be the way to actually onboard them in Web3. Because you get something familiar and you don't need to think about the whole new tokenomics and having like some staking and whatever. So definitely something I want to address, because I feel like every time we talk about like, oh, new crazy system to have new crazy tokenomics, that makes everything complicated and user get lost. It's definitely some stuff really interesting, but we need also to think about like, yeah, keeping things simple. In terms of crazy things, I mean, there is like, so with Liteflow, we really try to power basically NFT marketplaces, so they control their fees, they control basically the trading activity, what they want to trade, how they want to trade it, and everything. And so this is something quite interesting, because then they can accumulate with, let's say, NFTs from, for example, different partners or their own NFTs that they launch. So to have some kind of like boost, some kind of discount, to really try to activate a bit their community. To incentivize them to participate on the marketplace or on the game or whatever type of project they have. So this part, to be able to have like on one side getting the funds basically from your customers, but activate it with some other tools. So NFTs to have some kind of like boost, or some kind of discounts, also some staking system as well, that if you actually stake, you have some reward at some point. I think this is a part where like, I would not say like right now there is a perfect model for this. I think all the projects are still testing, trying different approach with staking of NFTs, staking of tokens, staking of both. I know Grapes is actually working on some really cool stuff coming soon. So I think we still need to wait and see like the groundbreaking business model that's like the nice economic that goes with that. But there is definitely a lot of really interesting tests right now.
Awesome. Moving on to the next topic, which is NFTs and customer engagement. Sebastian just told us before, so metrics, you obviously know very well, Ben, CPI, LTV. So you are used to evaluate the level of engagement of players when we work with games. Like, if you have to make a comparison between what you know about all of those metrics and what you could do with other metrics like on-chain activities and NFTs, what can NFTs can provide in terms of data around the user engagement. How do you feel about that? How do you plan to manage all?
Can I have an easier question?
I didn't sign for it.
Okay, all right, cool. Thanks. Right. So with, well, obviously with mobile games, we collect a ton of data. Everyone will know it, but from DAU to CPI to session length to everything you can probably think of, retention, etc. And then we're generally building more event-based stuff, so we can actually have specific game data. So how long they did this, or tapped on this, or and even to the extent of going to FAQs and making sure that our games are all working. So we collect around 200 million data points a week into some big databases and never look at it again. Or we build some data, or build some dashboards. With the NFT engagement, it's really interesting because what we've seen on an NFT holder versus a traditional Web2 player, they're worth about double to triple to 4 times the value, and to 20x sometimes. So as an example, a traditional mobile game, day one retention is about 35%, and that would be quite good. When we've pushed games into our community, we see 80% day one retention. So that sort of starts getting towards sort of social media kind of levels of retention. So we know they're very engaged, and then when we literally pull out the data and then compare them with holders versus non-holders, we can see the engagement level a huge increase. So, I mean, it's very, very telling for us. If you hold an NFT and you're part of the ecosystem, you're going to be far more invested into the product. Did that sound smart?
He was very smart.
Oh,
yeah.
cool, cheers. Mo, was that smart?
That was great.
I'm worried about my next question now.
Okay, yeah. A hard one, let's go.
Yeah, that would
Daria,
Good luck.
you know, you're providing a payment infrastructure for companies of all sorts, gaming, but not only. What kind of visibility you're giving to them in terms of data? Because obviously it's payments, but how do you try to help them to support them in the way that how their communities are engaging with each other?
I will surprise you with your answer because what we see with even with not with all the games that are coming, not with all the businesses, but with most of the ones that were coming in the last 2 years, is that they don't use any data. Because if you come to a conference like this, for example, and you see like people talking about the product, etc., and they say, yeah, we're having a drop and you can buy it, just look at our website, download the app. You try to do it, obviously. And every time we come to meet new clients or possible clients, we try to download and try to like how it works. And most of the time, something is not loading. You cannot see the checkout. This card doesn't work. This is not accepted. And we're like, and then sometimes they say, yeah, we use maybe some of your competitors, or we use this and that. And we're like, guys, do you know that your checkout does not work at all? And they're like, no, it does. Like, really? And then they try to check and it doesn't. So I think, first of all, what you need to do is don't forget to try to sign in and buy something in your project at least every week, because it is most of the time something is not really that great in the projects. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Next question for Ben, but I feel very stressed about it. You're coming from the, I hope you don't mind if I say, just to make the comparison, the Web2 gaming world, leading the Square Enix gaming games, mobile games. You're now into Web3. What did you find this challenging? I guess it is challenging, but do you see the Web3 space as also having a lot of opportunities, more than having a lot of challenges?
Can I have an easier question? No. No, so I was kind of blessed in some ways of being at the start of mobile in Square Enix, and started and brought all their brands most of their brands onto mobile. So Final Fantasy, Championship Manager, Deus Ex, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. And I was the first mobile guy there. And they kind of sort of said, most of the people said, no one will ever play games on their phone. And I had an iPhone and a Mac, and everyone else had Blackberries and big PCs. And I know a lot of people draw comparisons, but it is a bit like that again, where it's something new, something we don't know about. It breaks our traditional mold. It breaks our 5-year roadmap, and that's what the big console guys generally do. So they stay wary from it. But eventually they will come, and there'll be some developers who do well, and publishers that do well, and then some will just have to consolidate, like Activision, Take-Two, who realized they were 10 years late. And then sort of coming from that world, from mobile Web 2 to sort of Web 3, it's really fucking hard in Web 3. You know, we were allowed to swear. But no, it's wearing. So the obvious thing is that we have all our holders, all our token holders are investors into our project, and a lot of them want to be treated like shareholders, and you've got to be a bit wary of that, because you just lose sleep and get old, and your hair goes grey and gets thinner. But there's a massive change in community management. It is your biggest acquisition tool. It's your biggest retention tool. If they're happy, the project's happy. If the project's happy, you'll see positives. So I think that's the biggest thing. Web 2, someone can write a 1-star review on the App Store, and that'd be pretty much it. Nowadays, they can go onto Discord and create a tsunami of hate on Friday at about 7 o'clock when you're trying to relax and your phone just pings and pings and pings and get called all sorts of things. But I would say that's one of the biggest things: community management and the passion of the community.
Awesome. Kind of the same question for you, Mohamed, because you're actually facing a lot of game developers, game companies coming to you. I have a very good idea. I'm going to disrupt the industry with my idea. Do you see a shift in these kind of relationship you have with game companies building it?
I think there has been a shift. What's interesting is a lot of people simultaneously are coming to the same conclusion, that you're building two separate products. You're building something for Web 2 and you're building something else for Web 3, because the engagement hooks are different, the motivations are different. And then what we've tried to do is build on this holy land of Web 2.5, that it's sort of in the middle and it will sort of appeal to both sides. But Web 2 and Web 3 are so far apart that building one product for two functionalities doesn't make sense. So then there's been that approach. So that's simplified it in that they can focus on what they're good at, building games, but it also raises a challenge of education, because now they need to understand all of the different Web3 elements. And that's really when the difference comes down to founders, that comes down to actually taking the time to learn about Web3. Grapes is actually a really good example, because the learning journey they've been on, you guys have learned so much through your time in Web3, and you can see that via the way they live, breathe their community, and some of the things you were talking about. I know it can be a headache on Discord.
I love you, Mo.
I love you too, Ben. Just don't tell my wife, please. But yeah.
I'll tell my wife. It's okay.
Yeah,
yeah, you can tell there's a little bromance developing here.
No, a lot, I think.
I tell you what, it's the grey hairs. It does something for me. But
yeah, this panel is getting very emotional.
I need to take off my top. It's getting hot in here. But no, it's it's that paradigm shift. It's the shift in thinking, but also how can we talk about like circular economies or core loops? How can you create a core loop between something in Web 2 and something in Web 3? Given that a lot of the relationships have been linear. I come in, I do something, I earn, I sell. And that tends to be the relationship. But now, how can we link revenue maybe? How can there be that link between both? And that's where it's, depending on the learning journey that founder has been on, the further along that learning journey and depth of understanding of Web 3, the better the product is for Web 3 and that loophole between, that loop between Web 2 and Web 3.
Coming to the next topic, which was actually a big topic apparently for the last panel, the first panel, NFTs and the relationship between NFT and how it impacts digital identity and ownership. What's your take on that in terms of your business? You're building a business, but what's happening with digital identity?
So, as a business, I would say one thing that is interesting to consider is that every businesses have users that have somehow their identity on their products. Every product that you go, every website, every application that you use, every mobile app, whatever, you create a profile. Whether you need it or not, that's another question, but you create a profile. You create your identity in their products. And of course, it's not your identity. We see like Twitter with like a renaming of X, and the guy was like, oh, I actually lose my handle, I lose my whole identity on this platform. That's not something we want. So basically here, that's the part that I love with this identity part is that now your user actually have their own identity, still related to your product, so you can still actually like connect this identity to a specific product. You can also, as a business, also identify like which one are active and so on. And for the user, for the end user, they still maintain this identity. So if tomorrow they want to leave your product, they can do that. They can still keep their whole history, their whole activity, and so on. And even be better, and that's where, like, for me, the power of Web3 is here. It's like, because everything is interoperable, they can actually use this identity on other products, on other platform. Let's say, I don't know, we take something simple, but like you have your profile on Facebook and you want to go on Twitter. Then you bring all your followers, you bring all your posts, you bring all your activity, because that's your identity. Whether you create it on one product or another, it doesn't matter. That's where like you store like all your information, all your value, and then on top of that, you can also, like, with this value associated with this ID, you can even monetize this. We are still a bit far from that, but that would be the end goal, and that would be, for me, the whole goal of this identity is, like, you start to control, basically, what you put on this digital world. you start to attach your value, your post that you are doing on Twitter, your video on YouTube, whatever, your leadership on whatever game. And with that, after, because you own it, you can do anything you want. You can sell it, you can use it on some other products. And I think this is like something really powerful. I know there is like for the past, let's say, year or so, quite a lot of push on the identity part. We will still have an issue at some point where like you will have like 20, 100 different identities on your wallet. So we need to have a way to really, you know, aggregate this identity, have a kind of like super identity or whatever. But yeah, I really like the direction of that. I really like that most of the projects are actually shifting to that direction. So it kind of like empowers a bit their user to, you know, start new product without being too worried about, oh, I will lose everything.
Yeah. So it's with the identity piece is ownership, and the problem in Web 2 is we don't have ownership. In Web 3 we do have ownership. Well, if we speak practically, how many of us, and this is a question for everyone in the audience, how many of us remember 2 or 3 years ago when Facebook brought WhatsApp and we all downloaded Signal or Telegram because our data wasn't safe? Okay, come on guys, be honest. Okay, how many of us are still using WhatsApp? And okay, one person put their hand on, everyone else's hands still remain. That's the problem right there. We know what the problem is, but yet we still use these Web2 platforms, but we use them because of network effects. We use them because all of our friends, everyone that we converse with is on WhatsApp. So even if I'm on Signal, it doesn't make sense if it's just me and another friend, but everyone else isn't there. So I think there's that aspect as well. Knowing something and transitioning are two different things.
I love that. Daria, we'll be talking about monetize. Not easy for French people to say that. Monetizing with NFTs. Can you share example of successful monetization strategy that have been enabled by NFT technology? I'm asking the question because it feels like, when asking the question, it feels like it go back to what you said. It's about the process, like checking the process in terms of payment. They don't respect, and from that you can help them with onboarding new opportunities to pay with crypto.
Okay, can I answer like in a longer way?
At that point, like you know, with Ben and everything, you can do whatever you want to like.
So, successful monetization. As we're talking about business paradigms and the shift, and also the crypto community where everything happens in waves, and we've been like observers because we provide the payment infrastructure. So we were observing several waves of this. And also my co-founder was in crypto since 2013. So he observed even more crypto winters and bull and bear markets. So I would say that there are some things that successful projects do the same way, and there are some things that are always without, like no exception, they always fail. So what fails is when people try to think one step ahead. It is not too difficult at this point to get money from your users. You say that you are building something really cool, you sell your tokens, you sell your NFT. We know how to do that at this point. It's not that difficult. What is difficult is to keep the promise and keep building. So what I've seen is the projects that move very slowly. They know what they're selling. For example, first they start with land. Then they explain something like how this game works, etc. Then maybe several months pass, even more than a year. Then they sell maybe something new, like other NFTs, avatars, whatever. So the projects that move at a pace that they really, that is suitable for them in terms of how to make their games or their business really great, these ones are still afloat and are still with us. The ones that were trying to make it really fast and really loud and whatever, and overpromise, they didn't have the capacity to still be up and running at this moment. And this is how we come to another point here is what is MVP in Web3? Because many businesses think from Web2 or just normal business that what you need to show as an MVP is that you can bring users and that they give you money and that you have some traction, this kind of traction. Well, in Web3, you don't actually need to prove that what you have to do is working, or you can attract users because we have like all this marketing tactics, and we have Web2 examples of the same thing that you can say it is working, but I can make it Web3. How can you prove it? You can prove it with a piece of paper, a couple of other people who brainstorm with you, and you say, so this is how it works on smart contracts. This is how we can do it with the tokenomics. This is how we can make it work over a course of time. This is how we will manage the community. And this you can show to your investors or to your users that probably invest in your project just with like a landing page. You don't need to do much, and this is how you stay afloat with the money that you probably got from selling your NFTs or land NFTs or tokens or whatever.
Does it mean we shouldn't anticipate trends, upcoming trends, what's coming, because we are actually tending to...
Anticipating. Because you were anticipating, right? No, I think it is exactly like, it's almost like a year and a half passed since many of the projects that started building, they will be showing some results this year. So no, I think that there will be something promising this year. It's just that the loud wave is wearing off, and now we see those who have been working hard all this time.
That actually resonates with one question to you, Mohamed, because we see a lot of things happening. I mean, in terms of the technology, ERC, 404, ordinals, and everything. I kind of agree. Like a lot of them, on paper, they want to jump on the trends, and obviously, I guess they want also to explain to you that they can do it. How do you approach these willingness for innovation?
It's interesting because I guess to sort of extrapolate some of what you were saying, when things are trendy, it's the projects of the best marketing will raise a lot of money as opposed to the projects of the best tech or of the team who know how to build. And again, that's not everyone, but it's just, it then means if I'm a project that has built an amazing game or has a team from these different game studios and we have that experience, but I'm unable to raise because we're not good at marketing. So if one of those jumps on a trend, is that a bad thing? Maybe not. But if it's someone who's just looking to rug their community or get rich quick, which tends to happen, then there is a problem. So it does depend on the founder's persona and what the intention is. I also think like the chicken and the egg or the cart and the horse, there is no right way to do it. Sometimes we have to sell the vision to get people to buy in, to then be able to build that vision. And other times you can have an MVP. This is the core idea behind it, which is what we did with Open Campus. So Open Campus is super interesting because we all know education is broken in many different ways. So we want to build an education protocol, but you cannot tackle education all at once. So we went for the MVP route, and we created a new paradigm, if you like, a new type of NFT called the publisher NFT. And fundamentally, this is where the link of Web2 and Web3 comes in. We have a Web2 company called TinyTap, top 10 grossing on the iOS and App Store, and their business model is very simple. Teachers create content, parents and schools pay a subscription fee, and there is a revenue share on the profit. That's Web2, nothing to do with Web3. So we took the courses that were generating the most revenue as a proof of concept and did what we do in Web2. If this is how much revenue it generates, slap on a multiplier, and that's the value of this as a business. And then we told investors, you can invest in the future revenue that's being generated based on the previous revenue, but you're now coming in as a co-publisher, where the onus is on you to do work to co-publish this content to generate more revenue. And then we were able to link Web2 and Web3. That was a big success. So we sold 12 NFTs. We raised over 400,000. Again, as a proof of concept. But half of that money went to teachers. We had an elementary school teacher walk away with $37,000. That's more than her annual wage. This isn't a story we'd like to have achieved. This is something we achieved in November 2022. So based off of that, there was a big narrative that actually there's an appetite here to change education. And then we were able to launch on Binance. From the liquidity of launching on Binance, you're then able to have a very healthy treasury, which is funding two $10 million funds as of now. One focused on, it's called the Global Educator Fund. Then that's on onboarding Web2 onboarding teachers to create content that we can then list on these distribution platforms, but also an accelerator to onboard the next 100 educational technology companies. And it's not just a dream, that's where it was a year and a bit ago. We're halfway through that accelerator now. We've got nearly 20 or 30 educational technology companies, some of them distribution networks, some of them are already generating revenue, forming an ecosystem. So right at the beginning when we spoke about ecosystem plays, this is an ecosystem or a protocol play, where we started off with that MVP, had the funding, had the belief in the community to come in, and again, it's a DAO. And we don't speak about governance often, but if I'm a token holder, these two $10 million funds, we didn't decide we're going to take out 20, it was a governance vote from all of the token holders to push it through, and it was pushed through very successfully. So, chicken and egg.
Open campus that you can find at NFTVerse because they are there. I know you.
Booth 18.
I know we're running over time, but I didn't ask the question. I think it's good to understand what's coming for Grabs. If you, in a few seconds, you can tell us what we should expect from the Grabs community for this year.
An easy question.
That's quite hard, actually. I don't know, actually. So season 1 was made to CGE, which was super successful for us. We 100x'd our, if you want to talk about numbers, we 100x'd our NFT price. We raised over 100 million in sort of funds for our TGE. We actually funded 98% of that. So in 24 hours, we generated $94 million and gave all of it back, bar 200 grand, just to prove that there was liquidity and excitement for us. So we've gone into season 2. So we had a bit of a rest, which is important in Web3. We've hired a few more people, and season 2 starts pretty much on my birthday on March 11th. Don't forget.
That's my birthday too.
Really? That's weird. You heard it live. So season 2, we're creating a new harvesting platform. Anthony sort of touched on a bit of it, but not only will we be able to stake grapes and grape coin, we're inviting other projects to join us, which is super cool, and have literally taken some of the best projects in the world, seen them this weekend, and they're all up for it. So exciting things for that. New games are coming, working with Wert as our onboarding sort of payment rail, which come live in September. Not September, March. What day is it? So more games, more flat platforms, and we start our sort of Web2 social push as well, where we've recruited a few more animators, and you'll see grapes everywhere, I hope.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.